Hey everybody, it's the Honey Badger, and today we're doing more work on the GX470. Specifically, we're going to be installing this MagnaFlow exhaust. Now, the original exhaust on this vehicle, when I purchased it, wasn't actually fully connected. It's actually over here. This back half, where it connects to the big muffler underneath the vehicle, yeah, not connected, probably been rusted off for a while, maybe sat in it roughly, but wasn't really connected, and as a result, this just kind of rattled around. So we actually chopped it off because we couldn't get it out any other way at the time, and have just had it not connected to the vehicle while we've had the vehicle. So not a huge deal. That last little resonator doesn't actually make too much of a difference not having it. From my experience, this thing's still been very quiet until you get on full throttle, and then because it dumps underneath the middle of the vehicle, it's kind of loud because of that at that point. But just cruising around in it, you wouldn't honestly know that it doesn't have that last little bit. But I don't want the fumes dumping out in the middle of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and get that route out the back. And this MagnaFlow, from what I've seen, sounds good too. So maybe we'll do a before and after sound clip near the end of the video to see what it sounds like currently versus what it sounds like with the MagnaFlow on it. But I think removing the old bolts, since I only have to do a couple since that rear section's already off, hopefully isn't too bad, but I know it's gonna be pretty rusty on those bolts and on that hardware. So we'll get underneath, we'll get it removed. We'll kind of walk you through installing this one. It should be very simple because it's just an exhaust, a couple bolts, a couple hangers. Shouldn't be too bad. So let's jump into it and get started. Now let's start things off with the install itself. A little bit of penetrating fluid is going to go a long way on anything that's old and seized. So a little PV blaster on these bolts, let that sit and soak in for a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier to get these off, but definitely these were still wanting to be a little bit stubborn. We got them off. And, you know, if you have to use a little bit of a breaker bar to get that extra leverage, go ahead and do so. Be careful, though. Obviously, breaking bolts is never fun and can kind of cause you more pain. So make sure you just let that oil sit and do its job to make this removal process that much easier. We were able to get these ones off and able to reuse them. The other thing you should do, a little WD-40 on any of the hangers where the muffler's sitting. That's going to help make it easier to remove them from those hangers, because sometimes the corrosion on the hangers themselves gets hard to get them out of the little rubber hangers they're sitting on. So get that on there. That's going to make it a little bit easier to remove it, and then that's that. You have your muffler removed from the vehicle. Like I said, back half wasn't connected, but you could just chop yours out like how I did if you wanted to get it out quick if your hardware's too rusty or old. Now we're just going to mock up the muffler in place and let it kind of hang. We're going to put our hardware on it as well, and then we're going to actually drop it back down for just a split second while we line up our straight tube that comes from our collector off the catalytic converters. We'll get that just in place loose. We're not going to tighten anything down while we're just mocking up its place. We'll get it put back in the hanger that's up towards the front. Again, a little WD-40 on that just makes these easy to slide in, and then we'll just kind of get this roughly positioned in place. We'll move to the back of the vehicle, where this one will go up and over the chassis and the axle. We'll get that put in place where the hardware's already at on the muffler that we put in place, obviously, so we have that in its spot where we need it. And then our rear section as well, we'll have our hardware just loose around the pipe, and we'll get this one put up into its hanger. Once everything is roughly in place, we'll make sure we have it positioned where we want, and then we'll start to tighten things up and get it kind of in position. So a C-clamp can be very helpful if you want just kind of an extra pair of hands to help hold things in place while you're getting your hardware set for the first time, especially up towards the front. We want to get this loosely connected first. Then from here, we're going to move back to the back of the vehicle and get these other clamps right where we want them. We're going to get them loosely put in. We'll get everything where we want it, and then we'll tighten these down fully and make sure all of our hardware along the rest of the exhaust is fully tightened, and then we're going to be good to go.
And that's it for the exhaust video. I think it sounds a lot better. Obviously, we've moved on to another project. We are working on preventative rust treatment, so make sure you are subscribed so you know when that video comes out. This project is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to be a big help to prevent me from losing this vehicle to rust and the inevitable, you know, what happens with that. So we're working on this now, but I think the exhaust turns out really nice. I think it sounds good. Definitely like OEM++, a little bit louder than just OEM+, but very, very good. Sounds great. Really throaty. It's got a good kind of bark to it without it being too annoying. Like some, I think other SUVs, not to throw like the Tahoe guys under the bus, but like I feel like I hear like Suburbans and Tahoes with straight pipes, and I'm gonna be honest, they don't sound good. This sounds nice. So sounds good. It makes this V8 just, I don't know, it sings a little bit better. So big fan, definitely recommend it. I think it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade. And it doesn't really have that bad drone either that some exhausts suffer from. So I haven't noticed it when driving around. So yeah, I think it's worth it. So make sure you guys are subscribed though, so you don't miss out on the next projects coming up. But other than that, I'll see all of you guys in the next video.